Novak Djokovic will not go to Doha and delays his return until Indian Wells. The Serbian will not play the ATP in Doha and postpones his return to the circuit. Unless there are changes of plans, he will reappear at the Masters 1000 in Indian Wells, scheduled to begin in early March. Novak Djokovic has announced his definitive withdrawal from the ATP 500 tournament in Doha, which will take place next week. The tournament has reported that he will take a few more weeks of rest following his participation in the Australian Open, where he finished runner-up after a thrilling final against Carlos Alcaraz. Djokovic will return at the Masters 1000 in Indian Wells. If nothing changes, Djokovic will return to action at the Masters 1000 in Indian Wells, which kicks off in March. This means the Serbian will not face Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner on this occasion. At this tournament, Novak holds the record for most titles. He has won it 5 times, tied with Federer, and will look to regain competitive rhythm. The reason announced by the tournament organizers, the Qatar ExxonMobil Open, is severe fatigue. After reaching the final of the Australian Open just a few weeks ago, Djokovic's body seems to be asking for a break before taking on the major challenges of March. A way to prioritize rest, playing fewer tournaments but arriving at 100% in the ones that truly matter to him. A well-known tournament, Indian Wells is not just any tournament for Novak Djokovic. Along with Roger Federer, he is the joint record holder of the event with 5 titles. However, his relationship with the tournament has been a roller coaster of absolute dominance and long absences in recent years. There was even a period when Noel was practically unbeatable, winning his first title in 2008 and defeating Rafa Nadal in the 2011 final during his historic season. In 2014, 2015, and 2016 he achieved a three-peat, something no one else has done at this tournament. In 2 of those finals, he defeated Federer at the height of the Big Three era. That said, he has also had less favorable periods, such as the post-pandemic stretch. He missed 3 consecutive editions due to entry restrictions in the United States for not being vaccinated against COVID-19. This completely disrupted his competitive streak at the event. The last few years have not been his best either, returning in 2024 and being defeated by Luca Nardi. In 2025 he was also unable to get past the middle rounds, increasing the pressure for this year. On March 3, unless anything changes, Novak will return to action with recharged batteries to once again chase the Indian Wells title. This week, British tennis player Jack Draper surprised the world by stating that his serious injury was, in part, the fault of Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Words that, although they may sound accusatory, hide a more complex reality about the high level of competition in today's tennis. But how did Carlos Alcaraz react to these statements? Today we tell you his response, one that has sparked much discussion and revealed the more human side of the Spanish champion. Carlos Alcaraz's response did not take long. With his usual composure, the Murcia-born player spoke during a press conference, where he was directly asked about Draper's comments. Alcaraz began with a smile, making it clear that he did not feel offended. "I didn't know that playing well could be a crime," he said jokingly, provoking laughter among those present. However, his tone became more serious when speaking about the pressure on the tour. Alcaraz explained that he perfectly understands the need to constantly improve. "We all want to get better, and if what I do motivates others, that's something positive. But you also have to know your body's limits," he stated. He added that every player is different and that trying to imitate someone else without listening to your body can lead to dangerous consequences. "Sometimes, the best thing you can do is play your own tennis," he concluded. Alcaraz's reflection was also a message to young players who dream of reaching the top. "There isn't just one path to becoming number one. Jannik and I are different, and Draper is different too. The key is to find your style and take good care of yourself in the process," he said. His words not only showed maturity but also great empathy toward his fellow tour player. In addition, Alcaraz took the opportunity to speak about the importance of rest, a topic that is rarely discussed publicly. "Sometimes people think training more is always better. But there are days when resting can be the smartest thing you can do for your career," he admitted. According to him, success lies not in extreme sacrifice, but in balance. He also confessed that he himself has made mistakes by wanting to move forward too quickly. "I've had minor injuries for not listening to my body, for not saying enough when I should have. I learned that ambition is useless if you're out of the game for 6 months," he shared sincerely. According to him, this is something all young tennis players must learn. Finally, he sent a direct message to Draper: "Jack is an incredible player and has a lot of talent. I wish him a season full of health and great results. I'm sure he'll come back stronger than ever." His response was met with applause in the room, making it clear that respect among rivals remains an essential value in this sport. After these statements, social media quickly reacted. Many fans highlighted Alcaraz's emotional maturity, while others pointed out that Draper's words could be misinterpreted as unfair criticism. However, most agreed that both players had given a lesson about the mental and physical challenges of high performance. Some even called for a joint campaign to raise awareness about athlete health. The international press also praised the way Alcaraz handled the situation. Media outlets such as L'Equipe and The Guardian highlighted his humility and self-awareness despite his young age. A New York Times editorial went further, stating that tennis needs more voices like Carlos's, who understand that talent is not at odds with empathy. All of this further consolidated his image as not only a sporting reference but also a human one. As for Jannik Sinner, he has not yet issued an official statement. However, sources close to the Italian assure that he is focused on preparing for the spring tournaments. Some rumors suggest he could speak out in the coming weeks, likely at the Miami Masters. Meanwhile, the spotlight has mainly fallen on Alcaraz because of his public reaction. This controversy has reopened an old debate in the world of tennis. Is the human body being pushed to the limit in order to reach the elite level? Many coaches and former players have warned that the pressure to stay in the top 10 can destroy careers if not properly managed. Draper's case joins a long list of talents whose dreams were paused by premature injuries. From the ATP, it has been mentioned that new initiatives are being considered to support players' physical and mental health. Measures such as mandatory breaks, stricter periodic medical evaluations, and injury prevention workshops are being studied. Although these proposals are still under discussion, Draper's situation could accelerate their implementation in the short term. For Alcaraz, all of this is a sign that tennis also needs to evolve off the court. We are at a moment where a lot is risked to be the best. But being the best means nothing if you're alone and injured, he said to close the press conference. A phrase that, beyond sports, resonates strongly in real life. Jack Draper's statement may have sounded controversial at first, but it ended up opening a deep conversation about the challenges of professional tennis. Carlos Alcaraz, far from entering into conflict, responded with respect, empathy, and a valuable reflection on the importance of physical and mental balance in high-level sport. Both players, from their own experiences, have made it clear that the real rival is not always on the other side of the net. Sometimes, the greatest challenge lies within oneself, in the ability to recognize limits and prioritize health over any trophy. Tennis, like life, is a game of endurance, mind, and heart. What Draper and Alcaraz leave us with is a lesson that goes beyond rankings or titles. And you? Do you think elite athletes should take more breaks to take care of their health? Leave us your opinion in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Revealed, Alcaraz's greatest secret by a legendary coach. Rick Macci, former coach of tennis stars such as Serena Williams and Andy Roddick, cannot contain his admiration for the Murcia-born player. Alcaraz's attitude on court is what excites him the most. Carlos Alcaraz has started 2026 dominating world tennis. After doubts following his split with Juan Carlos Ferrero, the world number one responded by winning his first Australian Open and making history by becoming the youngest player to win all 4 Grand Slams. His victory over Novak Djokovic in the Melbourne final once again earned him praise from countless personalities in the tennis world. The Mercian's superiority in the first major of the year sparked admiration not only within the sport of tennis but across the global sports world. Rick Macci is one of Alcaraz's biggest admirers. The former coach of legends such as Serena Williams, Andy Roddick, and Maria Sharapova is amazed by Carlitos' achievements but, above all, by the Spaniard's attitude on court during moments of maximum pressure. Macci's fascination with Alcaraz is so strong that he did not hesitate to post one of the most heartfelt compliments on social media. Carlos is the best thing that has happened to tennis in the last 5 years. His smile, his complete game, his unique style, have changed the way it is taught and remind us that it's a game, and games should be fun. After his triumph in Melbourne, Alcaraz announced that he would not compete in the ATP Rotterdam. The world number one now awaits his next challenge, with his sights set on going even further and attempting to win all 4 majors in the same year. The Doha tournament received very bad news this Wednesday: Novak Djokovic's withdrawal. The Serbian announced he will not travel to Qatar and will take a few more weeks of rest following his participation in the Australian Open. As a result, and barring any surprises, his return has been postponed until the Masters 1000 in Indian Wells, which begins in California on March 4th. This cancels the highly anticipated reunion between the Serbian and Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, whom he faced in Melbourne, and who starred as the main favorites for a title that neither of the two has yet won. Last year, Alcaraz, who is training these days in Murcia before traveling to Qatar, was surprised in the quarterfinals by Czech player Jiří Lehecka, 6-3, 3-6, 6-4, while Sinner was unable to participate due to a doping suspension. The Spaniard remains at the top of the ATP rankings for another week, now with a 2,750-point lead over Sinner after seeing the 500 points from his victory at last year's Rotterdam tournament deducted.